Thompson is a weirdly under-discussed prospect. He played for Overtime Elite this year with like Montero, and the other dudes, and his twin brother Osar. And for my money, he's like a legit tier one star prospect who isn't really discussed as such, partly because of like their eligibility issues and questions. But I want to talk about how his athleticism leads to problem solving that like almost no other basketball player I've ever seen have. Um, I don't really think it's hyperbole to say that Amen is like one of the best basketball athletes of the last like many decades. So let's just watch some of these clips to get a sense for that. Um, so Amen like has like I've kind of been mentioning has a lot of unique solutions to common problems. Like his handle at this point is pretty loose. Let's see, he kind of loses it there, and he picks up the ball above the free throw line against like a pretty set defense, which is generally like not a measure for success. So like in this situation, let's like kind of think through like the options for most players. You could kick here, maybe step back, try a spin move, floater, a little fade away. But you're probably not getting all the way to the rim for most players. Let's just watch what Amen does here. Yeah, that's not normal. Um, the speed at which he takes these long strides, which long strides are usually reserved for like more wide ground coverage. But Amen is like, no, we're treating long strides like a 40-yard dash, and he's fully clear of his defender after that second step. His defender is his twin brother Osar, who is a better perimeter defender than Amen, and like a very elite one at that for prospects. And like despite these like technical issues with the handle, like those athletic tools just create a solution to this problem that basically like almost no players have access to, and he gets a wide open shot. And this is just kind of like the thing. Amen is like a nonsensical athlete, like truly incomprehensible in the most literal way. Like he really just doesn't make sense. Like if to like anyone who's watched a lot of basketball. Let's take a look at this play, where Amen gets the ball kind of like backed into a corner here, facing the double team. Again, we kind of think of options here. The help is stacked baseline. You could skip maybe, but this is a pretty difficult pass for most young players. Back out is probably the most common option, but just look at what Amen does. Kind of a back out, but just full speed. And he ends up going out of bounds here. Again, the handle rears its head. Look how high that ball gets. That's a problem. But like the speed at which he changes directions here is unbelievable. You think about some of the best ball handlers and creators in the league history. Luka, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving. Like they're all masters of stopping and starting on a dime. And when it comes to like raw body control, there is like no one who does it with more speed and dexterity and grace than Amen Thompson. Like this is just ridiculous. My good friend PD Webb, who recently wrote a thing on Amen that I'll link, like has described his movement style to me as like he's like a hoverboard, which is totally true. There's just like no lag on any of his turns, and like that is gonna make for a really special creator when he like learns how to tighten his handle, and pick his spots better as a slasher. Here's an example of that kind of same play working out. This is from, I think this is 3SSB or some old like AAU tournament from a summer or two ago. Similar situation again. Amen is backed into a corner with help stacked this way. He has an easy release valve. That's probably what most players do or dribble out. But Amen just speeds around the defender. Then this time he creates a great shot for his brother. Like this is just not a thing I think most defenders are like ready for, because this isn't something that most basketball players do. Like most basketball players like will never try this, let alone are capable of this kind of thing of getting around baseline at this speed. And defenders just aren't ready for it. And again, like this is probably the better pass, but Amen has great feel for what he is. And as he improves as just a processor and a dribbler, like this is going to become all the more deadly. And Amen just does this kind of unique problem solving in all facets. Let's see, he's pushing in transition. Let's stop the ball right here. Again, early pickup, which is fine in transition with a full head of steam for a great vertical athlete like him. Most players maybe kick here, maybe take into the dribble and try to get into the body of this defender. But Amen being one of the great vertical athletes is just gonna fully leap and extend into this finish. And again, I think especially lower level defenders just really don't know how to handle a guy taking off and beginning his jump from above the free throw line, and finishing his jump in true finger roll range. Like, people like just don't have either the mental capacity or like the athleticism to move with this and to stop Ahmed, and he's probably gets fouled here too. And it's just like this kind of athleticism is like really generational. Like, it maybe doesn't look as familiar as someone who just like runs in a straight line and dunks all the time, and Ahmed does that too. Like, Ahmed is no stranger to his like incredible straight line dunks. I think this play is no, the next play will be that. But Ahmed's athleticism is so unique, and I think there's like real upside there, as I'm discussing. Again, we have like an early pickup. You can kind of see already, like not a great situation. Tight help on the right. This is not driving left. The defender's hips are already open that way. But Ahmed is just gonna like running back jump cut through that hole, and get to a spot where he has a shot that he thinks he can make. And again, this isn't like a ton of separation, and this is like a very difficult finish where Ahmed gets even closer to the rim by hanging until the last minute. And his touch on these shots isn't perfect, and this probably isn't the best like decision in the world. But like a better decision probably just is to kick here. But like Ahmed makes it work because like this defender's hips are flipped the wrong way. Ahmed will hop step over them and make you pay. Like, it's not a normal athlete. Like, he doesn't do things that most basketball players can do. I spoke about traditional vertical athleticism earlier. I think Ahmed also does stuff like this. Yeah, that is a man who floats. And then like I kind of mentioned the feel earlier, and while there are obviously passing holes, he's only 18 still, and developing as a passer, learning how to read the floor and read complex defenses. But when he does stuff like this, like, I'm just gonna let this one play in full, and then we're gonna kind of watch through it. This is the full clip, which is just, I don't know. But again, like, the feel level is really high. Like, the instincts and just like the spatial processing, knowing where his teammates are and what the court looks like at all times without seeing all parts of the court is kind of a hallmark of all great playmakers. And I think Ahmed already displays a lot of that, despite being raw as a technical passer. Again, like, early pickup kind of gets into trouble. He's in a bit of a tough spot here. He can't get 2 feet in the paint. This is probably a kick-out situation for most players. This is a pretty difficult, it's a makeable pass, but it's not an easy one. And from this position, it doesn't really seem like this pass is possible, because almost no player is going to 360 right there. And this pass to me is all just about having the awareness to know exactly where his teammate is and where the defense is and is not, to be able to punish them with this very unorthodox type of pass. That is just kind of an example of his feel. But yeah, Amen is like a really special prospect to me. Someone who, if he were to enter the 2022 draft, is someone who I would consider taking with the first overall pick. He's that good.